strictly according to science. But then again, science is controversial too. The fact of the matter is there is global climate change, and some of it is man-made and some of it's cyclical, and it's a very elaborate and complex issue of what causes these changes that are very abrupt. But we have evidence now that there's a lot of change going on, and some of it is definitely man-made, and it's the amount that's man-made that might be the tipping point. Why should we take chances that our human behavior with fossil fuel emissions, cars and all that, pollution, why should we think that that's not having an impact on Mother Nature, on the Earth? Also about, population, ZPG, I'm for it. I think zero population growth is the future. I think governments, whether it's one world government or different governments, I think governments have a responsibility to tell their citizens, listen, we are a species that unfortunately has the technology to destroy our own world and destroy each other, and we're overpopulating our planet. And we really don't need as many human beings as we have right now. Now, the answer is not war and killing off people and culling the masses. That's wrong. But obviously we need to understand that family planning and birth control and using, intelligent means to protect from unwanted pregnancy is not a bad idea in a world that is already suffering environmentally from too many humans doing too many things that destroy the environments. We need to curtail our species through nonviolent means, through peaceful means, but we need to do it now. And Mother Nature will take care of some of that. And yes, unfortunately, it's usually the poor living on the coastlines of Bangladesh and other places in poverty, in the slums that suffer from terrible epidemics, diseases, natural disasters, and it's usually the middle class and rich who get away. And that's not fair. But the fact of the matter is, if you want an ideal world, you're not going to get it by doing violent things. You're certainly not going to be able to accomplish anything. I mean, you must be stupid to think that if you're going to hurt innocent people, or even people you might think are not innocent, if you're going to hurt anybody, you're going to accomplish anything in making the world a better place. You're not. You're not going to get anywhere by that. It's a waste of time, and all you're doing is serving the interest of those who would like to clamp down on our freedom of expression and freedom of speech, which is at this present time definitely in danger and is very limited in many places where it shouldn't be. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression are absolutely essential to the human being, to the human person, spirit, soul, to our rights. If you don't have freedom of expression, you can't have true democracy. And if you don't have true democracy, you have nothing. Now, do we have true democracy in Western Europe, in the United Kingdom, in the United States? To some extent, we do and we don't. On some level, we have an electoral democracy, but we also have much of a plutocracy. Wealth influences the voters because the wealthy can buy the airtime, the commercial time on TV, in radio and print. They can express themselves more effectively than us poor people. So that's not fair. That's not democratic. But the answer is not to go out and start being part of some kind of extremist group and thinking that you're going to, I'm going to be a successful revolutionary and do what they did in 1917, whatever, or in Cuba in 1959. It ain't going to happen. I mean, let's be honest about it. Revolutions haven't succeeded in that way. They've changed things temporarily and sometimes for the better, but violent revolutions always eventually fail, because they don't really bring about what the human being needs, what human beings in this world need. And what we need is unity and diversity. We need nonviolent conflict resolution. We need wisdom. We need more Gandhis. We need more Einsteins. We need people who are intellectuals, more Isaac Asimovs. We need less people like, less people than Che Guevara. Che Guevara had a lot of good intentions. But what his methods were and what he did and what Fidel did and other people like him, we glorify that. It's wrong. There's nothing glorious about using violence to overthrow violent people. Now, wait a second. What about World War II and the Nazis? Well, that gets controversial. I agree. We had to fight the Nazis, and we have to fight the people who attacked us recently, the extremists who distort religion for their own extreme agenda. Yes, we have to fight, but we have to fight in a cautious way. We have to fight in a way that we are truly trying to be better than the people who are attacking us, who are hurting us. But that has to be done in a very organized and structured way. You can't just take it upon yourself and use violence to change anything. It won't work. It just won't work. If you want to change the rich, you change them by talking to them, by explaining to them that what they're doing is actually not in their own interest. But you can only explain that to them if they don't fear you. If they fear you, they're not going to listen to you. If you tell their children, hey kids, your parents are a bunch of, horrible people destroying the world for profit, you're not going to get much there with that. What you have to do is understand how the rich think, what motivates them, and try to get into their into their lives in a positive way, and say, listen, it's fine that you're rich, and some of you deserve that money, and some of it. But the fact of the matter is that too many of you have taken too much from the middle class and from the poor. I mean, there shouldn't be any really poor people in the world in the first place. We could have a better world, and I think the only answer is social democracy. It's not, communism on the one extreme, which becomes in the end the same as the other extreme, fascism and pseudo-capitalism that's really just Wild West opportunism and strong overwhelm the weak and control everything. That's not the solution. If we want a human world, if we want a better world, we need moderate people. People who understand that complex solutions are the only solutions that work. Simple solutions, oversimplistic solutions don't really work in terms of dealing with our social and environmental problems. The world's problems are complex and they require complex solutions. And that's where, unfortunately, YouTube is not doing much good for us, because, and I'm not saying YouTube should be shut down. It's great that there is YouTube, and it's even great that these terribly stupid opinions can be expressed, and I won't stop them from saying what they want to say. But I will have to hope that you will tell other people, listen, this guy makes sense. He's saying that some of these YouTube videos are very, dangerous because they come across as being truthful, and they themselves have an agenda, and you must be wondering what their agenda is. And I think I'll go on to give you another example of this in the future, in a future report based on this initial report. I hope you've been able to think about what I've said, and I hope that it will make you understand how serious this is, because people can actually get hurt and killed because of bullshit, that's garbage that's put on YouTube in the name of truth. It's very dangerous what a young person who hasn't experienced enough the real world sees on YouTube. It can make them do terrible things. And I want to caution you again. When somebody says that they know the absolute truth, they probably don't. But that doesn't necessarily mean that when somebody like me says, well, listen, hey, the truth is a lot more complex, a lot more elaborate. The real world is a lot more, shades of gray than you would imagine. I think that's wise advice. And just because somebody says they have the truth doesn't mean they do. It also doesn't mean that they don't. And some of these conspiracy theories have elements of truth in them. And I'm not going to get into those details, but some of them are just absolutely garbage. I mean, junk, crap, crapola. So, hope to hear from you, your comments. Probably most of you are going to say, oh no, that symbol on your cap there means something. I'm sure it does. Or, and why do I have, this little plastic doll, Mr. Nowhere Man?